Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sacred Laughter Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Dameron. Today's podcast, we're going to talk about the everyday challenges we all face, whether it's managing work, life, or the work-life balance, dealing with self-doubt, or just trying to keep your head above water in this busy world. As I said, we're going to dive into the topic that's on everyone's mind, finding balance in the everyday hustle. If you're someone who constantly feels like you're juggling a million things at once, or you're always trying to figure out how to manage your time more effectively, this episode is for you. So grab your cup of coffee or your favorite drink, sit back, and let's chat about navigating the daily grind. Now, let's talk about that thing we all wish we had more of, and that is balance. How many of you have felt like you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to get everything done? I know I have, and I think it's safe to say we are all experiencing this pressure to do it all. Work, social life, self-care, maintaining relationships, you name it. It is all a struggle. But here's the kicker. Balance isn't about being perfect or getting everything done at the same time. It's about figuring out what really matters to you, setting boundaries, and learning how to prioritize your time and energy in a way that doesn't leave you feeling burnout. Let's start by talking about a few common challenges people face when it comes to finding balance. First, there's the work-life balance struggle. Many people feel like they can never turn off because they are constantly checking emails, working late, or just thinking about work when they're off the clock. But here's one thing. You don't have to be available 24/7. If you're someone who feels like you never have time to yourself because you're always working, it might be time to take a hard look at how you manage your boundaries. One thing that has helped me is setting clear off hours, no emails, no work calls after a certain time, and really sticking to it. Another thing that has really helped me is that if you have a lot of things that's constantly on your mind, the night prior as you get ready for bed, jot those things down. Allowing yourself to jot those things down on a piece of paper will help clear your mind of those things. And then when you wake up the next day, as you go through your priorities of work before you head out to the office or head out to your daily grind, then you can pull those notes and see which ones are more important now than they were yesterday. And in many cases, you will find that some of the things that you wrote down were or are not that important. But to you, the day prior, they were important. But as I said, if you write those down before you go to bed, it'll help clear your mind and you'll be able to get a better night's sleep. And when you wake up, you can look forward to having that piece of paper. And I would even state that piece of paper can also be words of affirmation. As you get ready to start that day, you're encouraging yourself to be prepared mentally, physically, and emotional for the day to come. Just think about that. Let it set in. And if you have any comments, please send them my way and we'll answer them. Another challenge many of us face is balancing personal time with social obligations. When you feel like you're constantly being pulled in different directions. Friends want to hang out. Family needs you. But you're just exhausted and need some time alone. The best advice I've gotten in situations like this is learning to say no without guilt. It's okay to say no to plans that drain you. And instead, prioritize things that make you feel recharged. I promise your friends and family will understand. In many cases, I'm an extrovert. I love being around people. It charges my batteries. But also as an extrovert, I enjoy being alone. That also helps charge my batteries. And if you're an introvert, we all understand that if you're around people, it drains your battery. So being by yourself helps recharge your battery. So there's just limitations that you need to know is how long or how much time do I want to spend with people to a point where I'm fully recharged or I'm fully drained. And I think it's important if you're in a relationship, that you set proper boundaries with your spouse. If you're out at an event or out with your friends, and if you're an introvert and your battery starts to drain, then you kind of give a nice little gesture to your spouse and allowing them to realize that it's time for you to go, or it's time to change directions or scenery and maybe just go for a walk or just change the location. I think I've already said that, but you just need to take that in consideration as well. That if you're an extrovert, you like to be around people, but if you're an introvert, you don't like to be around people. So just keep that in mind as, when you look at your work-life boundaries, and to be sure that you're actually doing the things that you want to do for yourself and not for other people. And as I said, it's okay to say no. A lot of times you don't want to say no because you don't want to make the other person feel bad. But as long as you give a clear, direct response to the no and why, they will truly understand, especially if they're family and friends. Now let's talk about something I think many of us struggle with: the pressure to always be productive. This can look like feeling like you have to fill every moment with doing something, whether it's answering emails, working on a side project, or even squeezing in a workout. But sometimes doing nothing is just as important as being productive. You deserve downtime, just breathe, relax, and enjoy the present moment without the constant pressure to be accomplishing something. I've worked with a lot of people who struggle with balance and productivity. I think one thing I would suggest for people to overcome the feelings of always needing to stay busy is allowing yourself to have barriers to achieve. If you allow yourself to have barriers to achieve, balance is the mindset that will always need to be doing something productive, right? What I mean by that is that if you're trying to achieve something, what's the barrier that you're putting up to achieve? If you're trying to balance life and work, what things are you not achieving when just by doing that? So it's really about retraining your mind to understand that rest is just as important as work. If you don't make time to recharge, we won't have the energy or mental clarity to do our best. And just taking a step away from something or someone to recharge is actually better than to stay in the project or with the person, because that's going to potentially lead to an outburst or other things that we really don't want to deal with. All right, so just here's a few actionable tips to help find more balance in your life. 1, set clear boundaries around work hours. Don't feel like you have to be on all the time. Number 2, practice saying no when you need to protect your time and energy. Number 3, schedule downtime. Yes, literally put rest on your calendar so it becomes a non-negotiable. 4, be kind to yourself. Finding balance isn't about perfection. It's about consistency, about making adjustments when needed. I recently heard this from an individual that I was doing a seminar or webinar with, and he was saying that he takes about 5 to 10 minutes a day and just listens to music, some type of meditation, spiritual, uplifting music, or he watches a like a video screen or a video that has you walk through a garden. So as most of you guys know, if you look at Apple headquarters, they have a large garden area outside, and a lot of the workers would take their breaks and go walk through there, because being out inside with the nature, the plant life, the garden, the Japanese style gardens, it actually recharges you. So I would add that to your daily calendars as well, is, find time to listen to meditation music or find time to listen to soothing music where you're able to just close your eyes and embrace everything around you. and allow your batteries to recharge, or allow yourself to decharge or detox everything that's, going on in your life before you go into an event. Okay. So I just want to say thank you again for all you guys that tune into my podcast, Sacred Laughter Podcast. I hope you found some useful tips and feel a little more equipped to tackle the everyday hustle. Finding balance is a continuous process, but it has the right mindset and tools. We can all get there. As always, if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe or follow, share with your friends, and leave a comment if you guys have any comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear some of your biggest challenges that you guys have overcome with balancing work, life, and everything in between. I really hope, again, you enjoyed today's podcast. And I am your host, Chris Dameron.